When night descends upon the Alps, it doesn't fall all at once. It unravels slowly, like a ribbon loosened by the evening wind. The last light of day lingers along the highest ridgelines, pale gold pressed against jagged stone, before slipping quietly into the folds of the valleys below. And in this gentle unraveling, the mountains take their first deep breath of the night. The world here moves in a rhythm most people never feel. A rhythm older than any village, older than any trail carved by hoof or boot. A rhythm held not in sound, but in the soft balance between wind and stone, cold and warmth, stillness and motion. Tonight, we step into that rhythm, slowly, softly, at a pace that matches the drifting of alpine snow. Because the Alps, mighty as they are, always become tender at night. The air cools, the forests hush. Animals who spent the day in scattered shadow now move with deliberate calm. A marmot settles deeper into its burrow. A distant stag exhales into the dusk. High above, an eagle folds its wings for the last time today. And somewhere between these breathing landscapes, you find yourself, not as a visitor, but as a quiet part of the unfolding night. This is where our journey begins. Welcome to Sleepy Nature Sleep, where the wild grows soft and curiosity becomes calm. Tonight, let your thoughts follow the rhythm of the earth, your breathing settle like evening wind, and your mind wander gently through the quiet wild. Here, there is nothing to solve, no urgency, no noise from the world you've carried through the day, only the steady exhale of a mountain range settling into darkness. If you feel your shoulders drop a little, that is the Alps welcoming you. If your breath slows, that is their quiet rhythm brushing against yours. Before we wander deeper into these sleeping mountains, a gentle note. If these calm nature journeys bring you peace, or if they help you find moments of rest in a world that rarely pauses, you're warmly invited to join our growing, sleepy nature community. A like, a comment about where you listen from, or simply returning each night, each gesture helps this quiet space grow and ensures we can keep creating soothing explorations of the wild. And if you'd like to support in a deeper way, you can do so in whatever form feels right for you. But for now, all you truly need is this moment, this breath, and this gentle story. So let the quiet take you. Let the mountains guide your thoughts the way moonlight guides the edge of a cliff. Let the slow drift of alpine air soften the corners of your day. Tonight, we follow the secret rhythm of the Alps, a rhythm hidden in stone and snow, in forests and rivers, in ancient ice and the animals who move across it. A rhythm that only reveals itself when the world grows still enough to hear it. Settle in, breathe with the mountains, and let the night open. In every landscape, there's a question waiting quietly beneath the surface. Sometimes it lies in the bend of a river, sometimes in the hush of a meadow before dawn. But in the Alps, that question sits deep in the spine of the mountains, older than frost, older than the forests rooted along their slopes. As dusk deepens into early night, you can feel it, a gentle curiosity rising from the earth itself. What does a mountain remember when the world grows silent? It's a question that may seem too poetic for stone and ice, too delicate for cliffs that have stood unbroken for millions of years. But nature is never as rigid as it appears. The Alps have memory, not in the way humans do, with stories carried in words, but in the way landscapes hold time. A glacier remembers the winters that fed it, A forest remembers the storms that taught it how to bow, not break. An ibex remembers the safe angles of the cliff, passed down through instincts older than its lineage. And tonight, as you drift into the quiet rhythm of this mountain world, we return to that simple, soft question as a doorway into the journey ahead. Humans often look at mountains as unchanging, unmoving giants, but the Alps have been in constant motion for tens of millions of years, rising, folding, wearing down, reshaping themselves slowly in the long dialogue between stone and time. To ask what a mountain remembers is to ask what it has witnessed. The birth of valleys, the carving of rivers, the migrations of ancient animals whose names we no longer know. The first footprints of humans who crossed these peaks long before roads, long before maps. The mountain remembers because it was there when everything else was just beginning. But even this grand perspective is not the full answer. For in the Alps, memory is held most beautifully in the smallest things, in the lichen that crawls slowly across granite, holding a century in a patch the size of your palm, in the rings of a pine tree tracking warm years, cold years, hungry years, peaceful years, in the snow, which remembers each footprint only long enough to let it soften and vanish, teaching us that even memory has its own gentle letting go. The Alps ask their question in silence, not the empty silence of a closed room, but the living silence of a breathing landscape. It's the silence that settles when wind pauses between one ridge and the next. The silence of the valleys when thick snow muffles sound and every footstep becomes a whisper. The silence after a distant avalanche when the world waits to see what remains still and what begins again. If you imagine yourself now standing along a high alpine trail in the blue light of evening, you might feel a faint tug of curiosity, the early stir of the mountain's question, a question not demanding an answer, but offering a direction, a question nudging you gently into wonder. What does a mountain remember that we have forgotten? This question is for you, just as it is for the Alps, a soft turning of the mind toward reflection. When we frame nature's mysteries as questions, we don't do it to solve them. We do it to soften ourselves. Questions open space. They slow the thoughts, relax the breath, and remind the mind to wander rather than grasp. So as you listen tonight, let this quiet question settle into you the way starlight settles on snow. Don't answer. Don't explain. Just rest inside the curiosity. Soon the Alps will take you deeper, into their forests, across their stone, through their rivers, and into the memory they hold in every living and unmoving thing. And at the end of this journey, when we return to this mountain question, you may find that the answer has less to do with stone and more to do with the softening inside yourself. For now, allow the question to open you gently. What does a mountain remember when the world grows silent? Before we follow any animal, before we touch any snow or listen to any river whisper, we pause to see the Alps as they truly are. A layered world of cold and warmth, movement and stillness, fragility and endurance. The Alps are not one landscape, they are many. A tapestry of ecosystems draped across a single backbone of stone, each band of altitude weaving its own story, its own rhythm, its own quiet survival. Tonight, we walk through those layers in the softest way, not with footsteps, but with awareness. At the base of the mountains lie thick forests of fir, pine, and beech. In summer, they glow deep green, their branches filtering sunlight into pools of calm. In winter, they hush themselves under snow as if listening inward. If you stood here now, you'd hear the muted sounds of life settling for the night, a woodpecker giving its final tap on a hollow trunk, a fox pawing gently at the snow, seeking one last trace of warmth, a soft rustle from a deer weaving between trees, its breath white in the cold air. These forests are the lungs of the Alps. They absorb, shelter, soften, and they teach us that every great mountain begins not with stone, but with the quiet pulse of the life around it. Move upward, and the forests thin into alpine meadows. Here the land opens. The wind has more room to wander. The sunlight lies in long, golden strokes across the grass, and small, hardy flowers bloom with colors that feel almost defiant against the cold. These meadows may look gentle, but they are forged from endurance. Flowers here survive winters that would break most plants. They grow low, cling tightly to soil, and open themselves only when the wind permits. In summer, marmots whistle across these slopes, sending messages through the air like small flutes of warning and greeting. In winter, the meadows sleep, but even in their stillness, they cradle the quiet memory of spring. Above the meadows, trees and flowers give way to stone. The world becomes sharper, colder, simpler. Here, the air thins. The light becomes clean and bright, as if polished by altitude. This is the domain of the ibex, animals who walk cliffs the way others walk paths. Their hooves grip impossible angles, their bodies shaped by hundreds of generations whose lives depended on the geometry of stone. The wind whistles differently here, not through branches, but along edges. And the silence becomes profound, not empty, alive. At this altitude, you feel the mountain's ancientness most clearly, its patience, its vastness, its steady presence. At the highest peaks, the Alps wear crowns of ice. Glaciers stretch like slow frozen rivers across the slopes, holding within them the stories of long-gone winters. Each layer of ice is a page in a history book, written not with ink, but with compressed time. Glaciers move so slowly that their motion becomes a meditation, a long breath drawn over centuries. Stand near one, and you may hear occasional cracks as the ice shifts under its own memory, a reminder that even what seems unmoving is always flowing in its own way. Up here, the world becomes elemental. Stone, ice, wind, light. Nothing extra, nothing allowed, just the mountain's deepest truth. When you see these layers as a single landscape, a quiet realization emerges. The Alps are not defined by their height, but by their transitions. Forest to meadow, meadow to stone, stone to ice, warmth to cold, day to night. Everything flows into the next without hurry, without sharpness, without resistance. This is the landscape before us, a world shaped by slowness and taught by endurance. A world where every creature, every tree, every river, every patch of snow belongs to a rhythm older than itself. And tonight, you belong to it too. Settle deeper into the quiet. Let this layered landscape surround you. Let it prepare you for the journey ahead, a slow wandering through the memory, the science, the beauty, and the softness of the Alps. When we move forward, we will begin with first light-touching stone. Before any bird sings, before the cold loosens its hold on the ridge, the Alps awaken not with sound, but with light. It begins quietly, a faint silver shimmer brushing the eastern horizon, then a pale glow, soft as a held breath, gathering behind the silhouette of a jagged peak. The mountains do not rise into day suddenly. They allow the light to climb them layer by layer, stone by stone, as if the sun must earn its passage each morning. If you were standing on a high ledge now, wrapped in the thin hush of Alpine dawn, you would feel the moment the darkness begins to dilute. Not because anything moves, but because the stone around you changes its tone, shifting from black to blue, from blue to gentle lavender. The granite, cold as sleep itself, begins to glow. This first light of day is more than illumination. It is nature's soft pulse, an invitation for the mountains to wake without hurry. High above, the Alpine glow ignites. It is one of the Alps' quiet wonders, a phenomenon where sunlight, still below the horizon, brushes the peaks in rosy pink and gold. Entire summits blush at once, glowing as though lit from within. It lasts only minutes, yet feels as eternal as the mountains themselves. The ibex stretching on its cliff feels this light before its eyes open. The marmot under soft soil senses the warmth threading into its burrow. The pine needles, still jeweled with night frost, catch that first glint and tremble gently in the rising breeze. Dawn is the Alps breathing in. As light climbs lower along the slopes, it reveals life in small, deliberate gestures. A lone raven glides between ridges, wings cutting the cold with a hush of velvet. A fox pads across fresh snow, each step leaving a crisp signature. Far below, a thread of river catches the dawn and becomes a ribbon of molten silver. Everything changes by slow degrees. The silence remains, but it brightens. Even the stone seems to soften. Granite, so stern in the night, becomes tender under morning light. Its rough edges lose their severity. Its colors, gray, green, rose, rust, begin to surface like memories rising gently. If you touch it, the cold would still bite your fingertips, but beneath that cold is the promise of warmth. Stone remembers sunlight. Scientifically, dawn in the Alps is a dance of atmospheric layers. Cold air sinking into valleys, warm air climbing, and wavelengths of low-angle light scattering against ice crystals and humidity. But in a place like this, science becomes poetry without losing its truth. Because when light meets stone, something ancient happens. For millions of years, this same slow illumination has swept across these ridges, long before human eyes ever witnessed it, long before trails, huts, maps, or names. The Alps have woken this way for longer than memory, and now you are waking with them. As the sun crests the final edge of horizon, full day pours over the mountains. Shadows draw long blue shapes, still sleepy from the night's hold. Ridges sharpen, peaks brighten. Cold air thins into clarity. And for one quiet moment, as the world brightens around you, it becomes impossible to tell where your breath ends and the mountain's breath begins. This is where our journey shifts from light to life. Next, we follow the creatures who know these stones intimately, those who move across them with geometry in their bodies, those who trust the mountain's edges the way others trust the ground, those who carry ancient paths in their bones, the ibex. If the Alps had guardians, creatures born from their very stone, they would be the ibex. Lean, sure-footed, built from muscle and instinct, the Alpine ibex moves with a grace so measured it seems almost unreal. They do not merely climb mountains, they read them. To watch an ibex on a cliff is to witness geometry turned into movement. Angles that appear impossible to humans become effortless steps in their choreography. Their hooves, small, concave, miracles of grip, lock onto tiny eruptions of stone as though held by the confidence of generations. They do not hesitate. Hesitation is a human habit. Ibex have only certainty. High on the cliffs where wind slices cold and thin, ibex families navigate ledges narrow as the spine of a branch. Mothers guide young ones across these precarious routes with a patience born from instinct, pausing only to test the air, ears flicking, muscles primed, balance perfect. This precision is not learned in a single lifetime. It is memory written into bone. Ibex are descended from ancient mountain goats whose lives depended on climbing to escape predators, find sparse vegetation, and reach snowmelt. Over millennia, their bodies adapted into masterpieces of survival, thick coats, powerful forelegs, and a sense of equilibrium that seems nearly supernatural. Their horns curve backward like crescents of time, rings marking the years they have lived through storms, thaw, hunger, and the slow shift of seasons. Each horn is a biography. Each step on stone is a sentence in that long story. From a distance, ibex may seem calm. Up close, if one ever stood still long enough, you might see how finely tuned they are to their environment. Their nostrils flare to taste the wind for scent. Their eyes scan every ledge for the flicker of danger. Their ears parse the difference between settling snow and approaching threat. But even in such alertness, they move with peace. Their world is vertical. Their safety lies in ascent. And they trust these cliffs the way others trust flat ground. Scientists call this trust kinesthetic intelligence, the ability to feel one's position and movement without conscious thought. But in the Alps, kinesthetic intelligence looks like poetry. Each step of an ibex is a stanza, each leap a line break, each pause a breath. As the sun warms the cliffs, ibex gather on sunlit terraces, small shelves of stone where they bask, resting their legs, grooming one another, blinking slowly in the brightness. Around them, life unfolds in the quiet way of mountains, wind combing through their fur, pebbles shifting under hooves, occasional calls echoing between ridges. They live in calm cycles, graze, climb, rest, climb again. There is no rush, no noise, no human urgency, only balance. If you listen closely, you might hear the faint scrape of hooves on rock, a sound so delicate it could be mistaken for the brushing of fabric. This is the Alpine music of movement. The ibex knows these cliffs as intimately as you know the lines of your palm. And as you watch them disappear around a ledge, following a path invisible to you but carved into their instincts, you begin to understand. The ibex does not conquer the mountain. It collaborates with it. Now we descend slightly into the forests shaped by wind, age, and the soft patience of trees. Before snow gathers in meadows, before rivers swell with meltwater, before stone warms beneath summer light, there are the pines. Pine forests are the Alps' voice, not loud, not sharp, but steady. They whisper, always whisper. In winter, their needles quiver beneath frozen wind, releasing soft sighs that move through the slopes like wandering breaths. In summer, they carry warm resin scents that drift along the trails and settle gently into moss. These forests are where the Alps remember their softer stories. Step into an alpine pine forest at dusk, and the world around you alters. The air becomes cooler, richer. Light filters through the branches in thin golden strands, catching the dust of pollen and tiny insects as they drift lazily in last light. Pine trunks rise like quiet sentinels, straight, patient, rooted in centuries. Many have weathered storms that once tore through the valley, bending but never breaking. Trees, after all, are experts in the art of stillness. They do not resist wind, they yield to it. In that yielding, they survive. And the soft whispering, it is not merely wind, it is a symphony of textures, needles brushing needles, branches creaking gently, bark shifting against age, wind threading through layered boughs like fingers sliding through harpstrings. Scientists explain pine whispering through aerodynamics and friction. But when you stand in the forest, when the sound surrounds you, it feels less like science and more like memory. The forest carries ancient stories, storms that passed, snowfalls that lingered, animals that sheltered in its shadows, footsteps long gone. Every pine holds a quiet archive of what it has witnessed. Step deeper into the forest, and the ground becomes soft with old needles, a carpet of time. The scent thickens. Resin, earth, cool bark. A jay calls somewhere overhead, its voice sharp and brief, cutting the soft symphony before fading into the branches. Here you may encounter footprints, a deer that wandered at dawn, a fox trailing the scent of possibility, a hare leaping between shadows. But each animal moves gently. The forest encourages gentleness. Nothing rushes, nothing interrupts. Even your own breath as you listen becomes slower, matching the rhythm of the trees. Pine forests are teachers of patience. They show us how to hold steady in changing weather, how to soften without disappearing, how to whisper without losing strength. Wind enters, wind leaves, the tree remains. The mountains breathe through these forests, in the hush of wind, the rustle of branches, the long exhale of old wood settling into night. And as you stand among them, you become part of that breath, part of that whisper. From here, we continue upward towards snow that remembers every footstep and then gently lets it go. Snowfall in the Alps is a kind of silence, a silence that drifts gently from the sky, settles on branches, softens cliffs, and lays a smooth, unbroken sheet across the world. It arrives quietly, without fanfare, just a slow accumulation of white breath from the clouds. For a moment, the landscape becomes blank and untouched, and then the remembering begins. Snow is the Alps' most tender archivist. It keeps every footprint, an ibex's careful steps down a slope, a fox weaving between trees, a hare darting in wide arcs under moonlight, the small zigzag of a field mouse tracing secrets toward a burrow. Each track is a story, each indentation a sentence. But snow is also a gentle storyteller. It holds these prints only for a while, long enough for morning sun or the next snowfall to erase them softly. Nothing in the Alps clings forever, not even memory. If you walk through fresh snow at dawn, you'll hear the smallest sounds amplified. The soft crunch under your boots, the faint settling of flakes on your coat, the muted hush of a pine branch releasing its burden in a slow, powdery fall. Even your breathing feels louder, as though the mountain is listening. And in this stillness, you become aware of how snow transforms the world's texture. Edges soften, colors fade to pale blues and grays. Light becomes diffused, swirling gently within the air rather than shining from above. The Alps in winter feel like a dream you can walk through. Scientifically, snow captures footprints because its crystalline structure compresses and reshapes under pressure. But in the Alps, this science becomes a metaphor. Impressions form, linger, and then melt into the larger whole. Animals understand this perfectly. Wolves track the faintest indentation for miles. Eagles read the disturbances from above. Foxes learn the stories of the night from the markings left behind. Snow becomes a brief memory written across the landscape, held gently, then released. But snow remembers in other ways too. Layers record the storms that built them. Heavy wet snow from warm days, fine powder from brittle cold nights, icy plates from sudden temperature swings. Avalanche researchers read these layers like librarians reading shelves of untouched books. Within each layer is a season, a storm, a pattern of wind. Even the cold carries memory. Stand now in an open clearing, the forest behind you, the jagged peaks ahead, and all around you, the quiet spread of untouched snow. A single fox's track crosses the field. Its paws have left soft dimples, as though the snow remembered the shape of presence, but not the weight. Follow the tracks with your eyes. Let them guide you toward the shadowed edge of the trees. Let them remind you that the Alps are full of quiet stories happening all the time. Whether anyone sees them or not, snow teaches us this: everything leaves a trace, but nothing stays forever. And this gentle impermanence is part of the rhythm of the mountains. Next, we step into something older than snow, older even than the mountain's current shape. Ice that has been alive for thousands of years. A glacier does not move quickly. It shifts the way continents think, slowly, steadily, with a patience that surpasses lifetimes. In the Alps, glaciers rest like enormous frozen rivers carved into the mountainsides. Their surfaces look still, but beneath that serenity, they flow, a slow-motion current of ancient ice. This is the oldest breath of the Alps. Approach a glacier, and the air becomes colder in a distinct, unmistakable way. The temperature drops even before you reach the ice itself, as though the glacier exhales winter continuously. The surface is a mosaic of whites and blues, milk-white crust on top, deep sapphire shadows and cracks, turquoise veins where ancient ice lies compressed under centuries of weight. Listen closely, and you may hear faint pops, cracks, and groans, the glacier adjusting its body. Ice doesn't break suddenly. It speaks in slow, resonant shifts. Long ago, these glaciers were massive, stretching across valleys, carving basins for future lakes, dragging stones and earth like soft tools in a sculptor's hands. Even today, they shape the land. As they move downhill, they carry rocks, sand, and memory. As they melt in summer, their waters feed rivers that sustain entire ecosystems. A glacier is not just frozen water, it is time held in place. Scientists drill ice cores to read trapped bubbles, tiny pockets of ancient atmosphere. Within them lie the chemical signatures of past climates, volcanic eruptions, forest fires, the very breath of vanished seasons. A glacier remembers the sky. Stand at its edge now. Feel the cold flow outward in invisible currents. The surface may appear solid, but the glacier is alive in its own slow way, expanding, contracting, sighing beneath its weight. Its meltwater trickles out in rivulets, clear and cold enough to sting your fingertips. This water has been ice for hundreds, even thousands of years. You are touching ancient snow, melted at last into the present moment. As sunlight shifts across its surface, the glacier glows with impossible color, the kind of blue you might see only in dreams. Deep, quiet, infinite. This is the Alps, speaking in the language of endurance. Stone wears down. Forests shift, seasons rotate, but glaciers remain. Even as they retreat, they carry the memory of everything they have been. Next, we follow the path carved by glacier melt, rivers that sing the mountain story in motion. Every river in the Alps begins with a melt, a drop of water sliding from snow, a bead of ice surrendering to sunlight, a whisper of glacier breath turning into motion. This is how the Alps speak when they flow. The first sound is subtle, a faint trickle beneath a patch of snow, then a soft dripping, then the gathering of droplets into a tiny thread of water weaving downhill. Follow that thread long enough and it becomes a stream. A stream becomes a creek becomes a river that winds through valleys like a silver story. The Alps are stitched together by water. Rivers here have personalities. Some rush with youthful speed, bubbling over stones, leaping down miniature waterfalls, carving playful paths through moss and meadow. Others flow with old patience, wide, slow, heavy with silt, reflecting the sky in long shimmering ribbons. And always there is the sound, the murmur that curls through air like a soft conversation between water and earth. Scientifically, Alpine rivers shape landscapes through erosion. They carry minerals to forests, nutrients to lowland fields, life to countless species. But when you listen to one up close, science blends into something almost musical. The water speaks in tones, sharp where it cuts across rock, deep where it pools in shadow, gentle where it glides across smooth stone. Animals understand this language well. Deer approach cautiously for a silent drink. Eagles circle above rivers rich with fish. Insects trace patterns on the surface, making small dimples that sparkle in sunlight. Water is the Alps in motion. Stand by the riverbank now. Feel the cool vapors rising. Watch the shimmering surface reflecting patches of sky and pine. There is no rush here, even when the river moves fast. Its rhythm is steady, ancient, a reminder of how life flows when it does not force itself. As you listen to the water's murmur, you may feel your own thoughts beginning to soften, becoming less jagged, more fluid. That is the river working on you the same way it works on stone. Next, we move into the night world, where eyes gleam softly between trees. The lynx. Night changes the Alps in ways daylight never reveals. Colors dim, edges blur, and the forest becomes a quieter version of itself, a place where every sound matters. This is the realm of the lynx. To see a lynx in the wild is rare. They move like shadows, silent, fluid, deliberate. Their paws are wide and soft, spreading weight so gently across snow that even crisp ice barely registers their passing. Their eyes, golden, unblinking, patient, are designed for twilight. They do not rush. They do not wander without purpose. Every step is a calculation, every pause a listening. Lynx are solitary, their territories vast. They communicate in subtle ways, a scent mark on a branch, a scrape on a log, a single echoing call that vibrates through the trees like distant thunder. But mostly, they converse with silence. Movement is their language. Stillness is their punctuation. Follow the lynx now through the dusk-lit forest. Branches shift slightly as it passes. Snow muffles its footsteps. The only sound is the faint rustle of fur brushing against a twig. When it stops, it becomes indistinguishable from the landscape, an outline of shadow, ears alert, breath slow. Lynx hunt with patience. They watch, they wait, they move only when the world tilts in their favor. This patience is not passive. It is ancient instinct, sharpened over millennia. Scientifically, lynx are apex predators that help maintain balance in local ecosystems. They keep deer populations healthy, prevent overgrazing, and restore harmony to forests through their presence alone. But when you observe one, really observe, you understand that their role is not just ecological. Lynx embody stillness. They remind us of the power of quiet waiting, of acting only when necessary, of moving through life with calm precision. Watch now as the lynx turns its head, catching the soft glint of moonlight in its eyes. Its whiskers twitch. It disappears between trees without a sound, like a thought leaving the mind. From this silence, we shift to another part of the Alps, a gentler one, where humans have lived in harmony with the mountain for hundreds of years. Tucked between steep slopes and winding valleys lie the Alps' hidden villages, clusters of wooden chalets and stone houses that seem to grow organically from the land. These villages do not conquer the mountain, they nestle into it. As night deepens, warm windows glow amber against the dark. Chimneys trail thin ribbons of smoke. Snow gathers on rooftops in soft, heavy blankets. From above, these villages look like constellations, small clusters of light scattered gently across the valley floor. Inside each home, a story unfolds. A family sharing soup around a wooden table, an old shepherd repairing gear for morning, a child watching frost bloom across the window pane. Life here follows the mountain's pace. Step quietly through a village street now. Feel the crunch of snow beneath your feet. Hear the soft creak of timber settling in the cold. Wood piles line the sides of homes, stacked with patient precision. Lanterns sway gently in the breeze, casting halos of gold across doorsteps. Even the air feels different here, warmer with the scent of pine smoke, brighter with the glow of community. For centuries, villagers learned the mountain's rhythms, when avalanches tended to fall, where snow gathered safest, how to move livestock with the seasons, how to build homes angled against the wind. This is knowledge not found in books, but in lives lived close to the land, a kind of collective memory, the human echo of the Alps' own remembering. Animals move at the village edges, a fox sneaking through shadows, a deer nibbling at an orchard's frozen bark, an owl swooping low across rooftops. Here, the boundary between human and wild is thin and porous. People adapt to wildlife adapts to people, and both become part of the same quiet night. Stand now at the outskirts of the village. Look up at the mountains looming in moonlight. The peaks glow cold and pale, but the valley hums softly with warmth. This contrast, harsh stone above, gentle life below, creates one of the Alps' most beautiful truths. Even in a landscape of ice and cliffs, there is always a warm place where life gathers. And from this warmth, we will rise again, back to meadows, wind, and ancient rhythms waiting in the next part of our journey. High above the villages, where the last fences fade and the forest thins into brightness, the Alps open into meadows. At first glance, these meadows appear simple: a wide stretch of grass, a scattering of flowers, wind brushing green waves into motion. But simplicity in nature is often an illusion. Alpine meadows are some of the most complex ecosystems on the mountain, slow-built, delicately structured, quietly resilient. Take a step into a meadow at sunrise. The air is crisp, tinged with the faint sweetness of frost-kissed flowers. Each blade of grass holds a bead of dew so round it could be mistaken for polished glass. Listen closely, and you'll hear a gentle hum, the low chorus of insects warming to morning. Beneath your feet lies a network of roots woven so densely it feels like a living tapestry. This tapestry has been centuries in the making. Meadows here do not spring up quickly. They build themselves grain by grain, root by root, surviving snow, storms, and grazing. They are nature's slow architecture. In early summer, the meadows erupt with color, edelweiss with its soft, star-shaped petals, globe flowers glowing yellow like tiny lanterns, Alpine aster dusting the slopes in violet, gentians blooming in blue so deep it almost seems unreal. These flowers aren't just beautiful, they are precise. Each species blooms at a specific time, at a specific altitude, calling specific pollinators with their scents, shapes, and colors. Bees hum close to the ground where warmth lingers. Butterflies drift higher, following the light. Tiny beetles crawl across petals like bright specks of moving shadow. Every creature plays its part. Every bloom is timed to the season's rhythm. Nothing is accidental. Scientists call alpine meadows climate mosaics, patchworks of micro-environments shaped by sunlight, wind, and moisture. One patch may be cold and shadowed, another warm and bright, another shielded from wind by a hollow in the slope. Plants adapt to these tiny differences with exquisite sensitivity. Some grow low and tight, hugging the earth for warmth. Others stretch toward the sun, trusting the wind to pollinate them. Some bloom early, others wait for the last snow to melt. Each adaptation is a survival story of its own. Walk gently now through the meadow. Watch how the grass leans as the breeze passes. Feel the faint warmth rising from soil exposed to sun. And notice the small motions, a vole darting between stems, a grasshopper springing in a silent arc, a distant marmot's whistle echoing like a tiny trumpet. This meadow is alive in ways too subtle for hurried eyes. Slowness reveals them, and the meadows teach something essential. Life becomes delicate, not by being fragile, but by being in perfect balance. Next, we rise upward into air that thins and transforms every breath into a lesson. The higher you climb, the more the air begins to change, not suddenly, but gradually, as though the mountain is easing you into its upper world. The Alps do not rush you. They invite you, step by step, into thinner, brighter air. At lower altitudes, air carries warmth, scent, weight. But high above the tree line, the air becomes something else entirely, lighter, sharper, cleaner. It brushes across your skin differently, as though filtered through centuries of ice. It fills your lungs with a clarity you didn't know you were missing. This air has traveled long distances, swirling between peaks, cooling as it rises, picking up the faint mineral scent of stone and snow. Animals living here have learned to thrive where oxygen is scarce. Ibex hearts beat strong and steady, their muscles rich with slow-burning efficiency. Birds like the Alpine chough glide through thin air, with wings adapted for lift rather than speed. Even insects have evolved larger respiratory systems to gather what little oxygen the wind offers. Plants adapt too. Their leaves are smaller, thicker, designed to conserve water and air so dry it can draw moisture from petals in minutes. Every organism knows this altitude intimately. Scientifically, the thinning of air reduces pressure, meaning every breath delivers less oxygen, but your body adjusts gently, heart rate rising slightly, lungs expanding a little deeper, blood carrying its oxygen with more determination. As you breathe here, slowly, you join an ancient pattern. Look around you now from a high ridge. Below, the meadows we just visited, soft and green. Above, a world of rock, snow, wind, and endless sky. Cloud shadows drift across the slopes like slow-moving birds. A raven glides past, its wings cutting the air in long, patient strokes. Up here, sound carries farther. Smells fade quickly. Colors deepen. The blues darker, the whites sharper, the light more crystalline. This is the Alps whispering at full volume, not through noise, but through clarity. Stay here for a moment. Take a slow breath in. Feel the coolness spreading inside your lungs. Let the thin air remind you how little you need to be present. Just breath, just awareness, just the simple rhythm of being alive. Now, we follow a sound that lives in these heights, the sharp, playful language of the marmots. Before you see a marmot, you hear it. A sharp, whistling call, one note, clear as a flute, carrying across the meadow like a message sent on wind. This is the marmot's language, simple yet rich with meaning. Danger nearby, family returning, a shift in the weather, a stranger approaching. Each whistle is a sentence, each tone a subtle nuance. Marmots are often misunderstood as quiet, timid creatures. But spend time among them, and you'll discover they are some of the Alps' most expressive residents. Living in family colonies, they communicate through sound, posture, and touch. A nuzzle against fur, a playful chase across the grass, a gentle grooming session beneath warm sunlight. Their world is filled with conversation. In summer, marmots are busy engineers, digging elaborate burrow networks with multiple chambers. One for sleeping, one for storing grasses, one for escape, one for raising young. Their tunnels curve through the earth like soft architecture built from instinct. Step near their burrows and you'll see heads pop up, round, furry faces with curious eyes, tiny paws resting on the edge of the hole. They watch you as much as you watch them. Scientifically, marmots whistle as an alarm system. A single call can signal predators, eagles circling overhead, foxes stalking through grass, or even humans passing nearby. But their whistles are more than warnings. There are softer calls too. Gentle chirps used during play, low hums exchanged between mates, quiet purr-like sounds during grooming. Their communication has depth, emotion, warmth. Sit quietly now in the meadow's tall grass. Watch the marmots sunbathe on warm stones, stretched out long, eyes half-lidded, bodies still except for the slow rise and fall of breath. They are experts at resting, experts at warmth, experts at living fully in the moment. When one marmot finally rises and lets out a bright whistle, the others respond instantly, a cascade of calls rolling across the slope, like musical notes passed between instruments. It is not alarm, it is acknowledgement, a check-in, a reminder that they are together. As you listen, you may realize something tender. These tiny creatures have carved out a world of cooperation on a mountain of stone. They survive because they trust each other. They thrive because they communicate. They rest because they know someone is always listening. Next, we turn our ears to something bigger, weather forming quietly in the distance. Storms that begin with a whisper. Storms in the Alps do not begin with dark clouds or sudden wind. They begin with stillness. An uncanny quiet settles across the mountains. Birds stop calling. Marmots retreat into burrows. The air holds its breath as if waiting for something unseen. This silence is not empty. It is preparation. Far above, moisture gathers into invisible seeds. Warm air rises from valleys, cold air glides down from peaks, and somewhere in the middle, they meet. When layers of air disagree, storms are born. But before the first rumble, the Alps grow profoundly calm. Even the wind pauses. Look out across the ridge. Clouds begin to form, thin wisps at first, then thicker, their edges curling like sleeping creatures. Colors shift, greens darken, grays deepen, the sky turns the soft shade of polished slate. A faint electricity tingles through the air. You feel it on your skin long before lightning appears. Nature senses it too. Birds fly lower. Ibex move toward safer cliffs. Pines sway in anticipation, their needles trembling in the rising tension. Scientifically, alpine storms form quickly due to steep temperature gradients. Moisture-laden air is forced upward along slopes, cooling rapidly and condensing into towering clouds. Sometimes lightning strikes before thunder reaches your ears. Sometimes rain falls in thick, heavy sheets, as if the sky has become a waterfall. Sometimes hail forms, tiny sculptures shaped by cold. But always, after the storm, the silence returns, a washed, renewed silence, one that smells of wet stone and pine. Stand beneath a ledge now as the storm gathers. The first raindrop hits your sleeve, cold, heavy, then another, then many. The sound becomes a soft drumbeat against the earth, against leaves, against your breath. The storm arrives. It rumbles, it flashes, it pours. The Alps receive it without fear. This is not chaos, it is balance. And when the clouds finally drift away and light returns in pale, broken beams, the mountain exhales. Storm follows stillness. Stillness follows storm. Both are essential. Next, we meet the creatures who survive these changes with quiet mastery, those shaped by cold and trained by endurance. Cold in the Alps is not an enemy. It is a mentor. It teaches every creature how to endure, how to conserve, how to find warmth within the landscape and within themselves. The cold shapes life here as surely as stone and wind do. In winter, temperatures plunge below freezing for weeks at a time. Snow piles deep, rivers slow. The world shrinks into shades of white and blue. Yet life continues, quietly, cleverly. Ibex grow dense winter coats, their fur trapping pockets of warm air close to the skin. They face storms with calm posture, turning their bodies against wind the way sails catch direction. Marmots retreat into deep burrows, curling into family piles, slowing their heartbeats to just a few beats per minute. Inside their chambers, winter passes like a long dream. Lynx move silently through snowdrifts, their wide paws acting like natural snowshoes. Their fur darkens slightly, better camouflage for the muted landscape. Even tiny insects adapt. Some produce natural antifreeze proteins that prevent their bodies from icing over. The Alps teach survival through transformation, but cold teaches stillness too. Stand in a snow-covered meadow at dusk. The world is so quiet you can hear your own heartbeat. Air becomes sharper, cleaner, more honest. Your breath forms small clouds, each one dissolving gently into the night. Cold reminds you of the importance of slowing down, of conserving energy, of choosing movement with intention. Scientifically, animals enter states of torpor or deep hibernation to conserve calories. Their bodies lower temperature, their metabolism decreases, their minds drift into rest. But when you witness it in the Alps, it feels less like biology and more like wisdom. Nature knows winter is not a punishment. It is a season of rest. A season of gathering strength for the next cycle of life. As night deepens, the cold deepens with it. Stars appear crisp and bright overhead. Snow reflects moonlight like silver powder. The landscape becomes luminous, and in this luminous cold, you sense a truth carved into the mountain. To survive is not to resist the cold, it is to cooperate with it. The same lesson the Alps teach in every season: adapt, soften, endure. From here, we continue upward and outward into reflections that widen the narrative, the memory of landscapes, the intelligence of ecosystems, the poetry of survival. Walk slowly into a shaded corner of the Alps, a place untouched by wind for a moment, a place where sunlight filters gently through the higher ridges. Here, the scent of the mountain deepens. Stone, warmed by daylight, then cooled by evening, releases a quiet mineral fragrance, a scent as old as the earth itself. Moss, soft and green, holds moisture like memory, breathing out a deep, earthy aroma that settles calmly into the air. This is the Alps at their most intimate, a place where scent becomes a story. Granite, limestone, schist. The mountains are built from ancient stone formed in heat, forged in pressure, lifted skyward over millions of years. When you touch a boulder here, you're touching deep time. When you smell it, you're inhaling a quiet history of oceans long vanished, pressures long released. Stone remembers more than any living creature, yet its scent is subtle, a hint of cold, a trace of metal, a muted echo of sun-warmed mineral. Moss adds softness to this story. Growing in pockets where moisture lingers, moss transforms bare rock into a living canvas. It clings, spreads, cushions, turning stone's harsh lines into gentle textures. When you kneel and breathe near moss, the scent is cool and grounding, a mixture of rain, soil, and green life compressed into tiny, delicate structures. It is the fragrance of patience. Moss grows slowly. It claims inches, not feet. It thrives in silence. In many places, it clings to rock with so much quiet determination that scientists consider it an indicator species, a sign of clean air, healthy moisture, and ecological balance. Where moss grows, the mountain is breathing well. In the Alps, scent travels differently. Cold air carries aroma downward. Warm air lifts it upward, swirling it around cliffs and slopes in gentle spirals. That means you may smell something before you ever see it. Wet earth before rain, pine resin before the trees, fresh snow before the snowfall begins, stone and moss before the meadow opens. You navigate the landscape not only by sight, but by breath. Walk now along a narrow path where stone and moss meet. Feel the coolness drifting from shaded rock. Notice how moss softens each step with its green quiet. Let the scents blend. Mineral calm, earthy depth, the faint sweetness of alpine air. This mixture is the Alps' version of incense, a natural aroma that restores without demanding attention. Breathe it in slowly. Let it anchor you. Then lift your gaze. On a distant ridge, something moves in the shadows, a creature shaped by ancient paths and old instincts. The wolves. Long before villages, long before roads, long before the Alps were named, wolves walked these mountains. Their trails are older than human memory, woven through forests, ridges, and valleys like faint threads of wildness that never fully disappeared. To see a wolf in the Alps is rare, but to feel their presence is common. Wolves exist in the echoes. As dusk settles and the first shadows lengthen, a wolf pack emerges silently from the edge of a pine forest. Their movements are deliberate, not rushed, not hesitant, the calm confidence of creatures who have spent millennia reading the land. A lead wolf pauses, raising its head to test the wind, ears forward, eyes bright, body balanced. Behind it, other wolves follow in single file, an ancient formation that conserves energy and keeps the pack aligned. Every step is a whisper. Every step remembers something. Wolves navigate by scent, by instinct, by the subtle textures of terrain. They follow ridgelines where sound carries far. They weave through meadows rich with prey scent. They travel along old paths carved by ancestors who survived winters harsher than today's. Their trail is a ribbon of continuity, a connection between past and present. Biologists call wolves ecosystem engineers. Their presence stabilizes entire habitats. They keep deer populations healthy, prevent overgrazing in meadows, and allow forests to regenerate in more balanced rhythms. But beyond the science lies something deeper. Wolves restore the movement of wildness. Where wolves return, the land becomes more alive. Animals move differently. Vegetation grows differently. Even rivers shift course as the ecosystem rebalances. The Alps breathe more fully when wolves return. Now imagine following the pack from a distance, silent and respectful. You watch as they pause at a rocky outcrop illuminated by thin moonlight. Their silhouettes are elegant, lean bodies, plumed tails, heads scanning the night. A low howl rises from the leader, long, steady, vibrating through the cold air. It is not a cry of hunger or threat. It is a song of location, a marker of presence, a reminder to other packs that these mountains are alive with voices. The howl rolls down the valley like a slow wave of sound, filling every hollow, reverberating against stone. You feel it more than hear it, a gentle shiver that moves through air and bone. Wolves teach the Alps something essential, that wildness once lost can return, that ancient paths can reopen, that balance can be restored from silence. And as the pack melts back into the night, we look to another force that shapes the landscape. One older than wolves, older than snow, older than forests. Water carving memory. Every mountain remembers through stone. Every river remembers through movement. When water flows through the Alps, it carves not only valleys and channels, but stories, etched slowly into the body of the mountain. Begin at a narrow stream where glacier melt gathers into a clear, cold ribbon. Watch how it slips between stones, swirls in tiny eddies, reflects the sky in shimmering fragments. This is the river at its youngest, a newborn flow carrying ancient water. As it moves, it lifts grains of rock, smoothing them over time, turning sharp edges into soft shapes. Water is patient. Stone is even more patient. Together, they sculpt landscapes. As the river descends, it grows bolder, faster, more expressive. In deep gorges, water crashes against granite walls, a rhythmic roar that sends mist spiraling upward. In calmer stretches, it moves like silk, gliding over polished riverbeds with a quiet grace that feels almost alive. Each sound tells a different story. A soft burble of youth, a deep rumble of force, a quiet meander of age. To listen to a river is to listen to time. Scientifically, this carving is erosion, the gradual wearing away of rock through friction, sediment, and flow. But if you stand on a riverbank and watch water curling around stones, the process feels less like erosion and more like memory making. The river remembers every curve it has shaped, every boulder it has nudged, every canyon it has carved drop by drop. Nothing rushes, nothing forces, yet everything changes. Animals rely on rivers in ways both subtle and profound. Deer follow water paths to safe grazing grounds. Birds nest where insects gather in moist air. Fish rise through currents that have been the same for generations. Even the trees lean inward, roots reaching toward moisture, branches stretching toward open sky. The river is not separate from the Alps. It is the Alps in motion, the mountain rendered into flow. When you kneel beside a river and touch the cold surface, you are touching the result of thousands of years of melting snow, ancient storms, lost glaciers. The river is memory given shape. Next, we turn to another form of transformation, silent, sudden, and beautiful. Snowfall. Snow begins quietly in the Alps, not as flakes, but as a shift in the air, a softness, a stillness, a quieting of breath. Animals sense it before humans do. Birds fly lower, ibex huddle on sheltered ledges, marmots retreat deeper into burrows. The world prepares for transformation. Then it starts, tiny flakes at first, floating slowly, barely perceptible. They fall with the gentleness of drifting ash or feathers. Soon, the air fills with white, a silent choreography as countless flakes descend in slow motion. Each flake unique, each flake temporary, each flake part of a much larger story. Snow does not merely cover the Alps, it reshapes them. Edges soften, colors fade, sound becomes muted, absorbed into deep drifts. Footpaths vanish, landmarks disappear. The world becomes a blank page waiting for new tracks. And with this blankness comes possibility. Scientifically, snowfall influences temperature regulation, water storage, vegetation cycles, and animal survival. But to the Alps, snow is more than meteorology. It is renewal. It cleanses the landscape in a slow, shimmering veil. It erases the marks of past seasons, hoofprints, fallen leaves, broken branches, the remnants of storms. Snow lets the mountain begin again. Walk into a snowfall now. Feel flakes land on your coat like soft, cool kisses from the sky. Watch them accumulate on pine needles, turning branches into white sculptures. Listen to the silence, so deep it seems to echo. Your footsteps sink softly into the fresh powder. The world feels distant, gentle, wrapped in quiet. Snowfall brings stillness, but not emptiness. It brings clarity. It slows the mind the same way it slows the land. As night settles, the snowfall thickens. Moonlight reflects off billions of flakes, turning the landscape into a glowing field of silver. This is the Alps dreaming. This is the mountain resetting its rhythm. From here, we enter the next phase of the journey, the deeper philosophical chapters rooted in wonder and nature's quiet wisdom. Long before humans ever drew maps, long before compasses, long before trails crisscrossed the Alps, another kind of traveler had already traced invisible paths through the air. Birds. Migratory birds cross these mountains every year, some traveling thousands of miles, some following ancient routes passed down through instinct, memory, and the subtle signals of earth and sky. These are the Alps' moving constellations. Stand now on a high ridge at dawn, where the air is cold enough to nip gently at your fingertips. Look upward. The sky is pale, fresh with the early light, and suddenly, a faint line of silhouettes appears on the horizon. They come in shapes that look like stories. A V-shaped formation of geese, A thin arrow of swallows, a loose cluster of cranes calling softly as they rise on warm air. Their movements are purposeful, yet unhurried. Their wings beat steadily, a rhythm older than the mountains themselves. Scientists have long studied migration, but even now its mysteries remain vast. Birds navigate using magnetic fields, stars, polarized light, wind scent patterns, memory of landscapes, and something more ineffable, a kind of internal compass we still don't fully understand. Their routes arc across continents with astonishing precision. They return to the same valleys, the same cliffs, the same patches of meadow year after year. These mountains are not obstacles, they are guideposts. As a flock passes overhead, listen to the sound of wings cutting through delicate air. There is a softness to it, a fluttering whisper that feels like breath moving through sky. Sometimes a bird calls, a brief high note, carried across ridges and reflected back subtly by stone. These calls coordinate the flock, keep them spaced, signal course changes, and maintain the invisible threads that keep the formation intact. Each bird follows the motion of the bird ahead, a chain of trust stretching across the sky. From the ground, we witness only the beauty of movement, but up close, every migration is a story of endurance. Birds fight strong winds, changing temperatures, night flights across moonlit peaks, day flights across hot valleys. Yet they remain steady, following the ancient map written in their biology. When they finally land on Alpine slopes, resting for hours or days, they forage calmly among meadows, drink from cold streams, and tuck their wings around their bodies like travelers settling into quiet lodges. The Alps offer refuge to bodies shaped by distance. Imagine now that you are lying on a soft meadow slope, watching the sky above you. A thin line of birds glides across the blue expanse. The sound of their wings blends with the gentle breeze. They do not rush. They do not falter. They simply follow the unseen highways of the air. Migration reminds us of something simple. Even when routes are vast, the sky still remembers the way. Now, we follow something closer, the shifting shadows that move across the mountain like time made visible. In the Alps, light and shadow do not simply contrast, they converse. They move across cliffs, slide along valleys, and pour into forests in patterns so fluid they resemble living beings. Shadows tell time here in ways clocks never could. At sunrise, shadows stretch long and thin, reaching across meadows like dark ribbons. As the sun climbs, they shrink, curling inward, tucking themselves under ledges and branches. Watch a cliff face for a few minutes, and you'll see the transformation. Shadows peeling back like curtains, revealing new details, textures, cracks, colors, hidden just moments before. The mountain becomes a changing portrait, painted by light. Scientists explain this as the sun's angle shifting through the day, altering how objects block or filter light. But when you watch shadows move in this vast landscape, the experience feels more like reading a slow poem. Lines lengthening, lines disappearing, verses sliding across stone. Time becomes visible, not in numbers, but in motion. Stand now on a rocky overlook. Below you, a valley stretches wide. Cloud shadows drift across it like giant hands brushing the land. They move slowly, gracefully, softly, turning bright green meadows into muted silver patches, then back again. This is the Alps breathing with light. Shadows are the exhale. Sunlight is the inhale. Animals read shadows instinctively. Ibex choose ledges based on where shade will fall during the hottest hours. Lynx stalk silently along the darkest edges of forest trails. Birds ride thermal columns where sunlight heats the ground, creating invisible lifts of warm air. Even insects respond. Butterflies warm their wings in sun pockets, while beetles hide beneath cool rocks. Shadow and sun divide the day into cycles of activity and rest. If you sit quietly long enough, you can watch the shadow of a single pine tree rotate slowly around its trunk, marking time like a natural sundial. In a world this vast, time moves gently, not in seconds, but in shifting light. As evening approaches, shadows return to their full length, stretching across ridges like long, dark rivers. Soon, they merge, flooding the landscape in a soft twilight wash. This is when the Alps exhale their final light of day. And when the shadows deepen fully, night awakens. A night unlike any other. A night full of quiet. Night in the Alps arrives slowly, but once it settles, it transforms everything. Colors fade to ink. The air cools with a crisp honesty, and the world falls into a depth of silence rare in modern life. This is not the silence of emptiness. It is the silence of presence. A silence so full that you can almost hear the heartbeat of the mountain. Step into an Alpine clearing at night. Above you, stars gather by the thousands, glittering with a clarity only high, dry air can reveal. Their light feels close, as if suspended just above the peaks. Constellations stretch across the sky like ancient drawings, maps of stories told long before human language. The Milky Way spills overhead in a soft white band, a river of distant suns mirroring the rivers below. Listen closely. Snow muffles distant sound. Trees hold their breath. Even the wind seems cautious, brushing gently against the world so as not to wake anything. In this stillness, you begin to hear subtle layers. The faint tick of cooling stone, the soft flutter of an owl's wings overhead, the long sigh of wind moving through high passes. Each sound is small, each sound is meaningful. Night narrows the world to what matters. Animals move differently here. Owls drift silently through pine corridors, their wings shaped to erase sound. Deer step lightly between shadows and moonlight. A lone fox trots along a snow-covered ridge, its tail brushing the powder in soft arcs. And somewhere deeper in the forest, the lynx watches, golden eyes glowing faintly, blinking slow and calm. Night belongs to them as much as it belongs to silence. Scientifically, nighttime in the Alps brings temperature inversions, settling winds, and changes in humidity that amplify stillness. But what you feel is something interior, a slowing of thoughts, a deepening of breath, a sense that the world is wrapped gently around you. This is the kind of night that invites reflection, a night that asks nothing, demands nothing, offers everything. Stand here a little longer. Let the cold sharpen the stars. Let the silence settle into your bones. Let night remind you that rest is not absence. It is part of the rhythm. From here, we leave the sensory world of stone, snow, light, and shadow, and enter the next phase of the journey, the wonder chapters, where nature becomes philosophy, and the Alps teach us what landscapes remember, how ecosystems think, and how slowness transforms life. Mountains hold memory in ways we can feel but rarely articulate. Not memory as humans understand it, linear, narrative, tied to emotion, but a deeper, quieter memory etched into stone, carved into slope, held in layers of earth. The Alps have watched ages rise and fall without ever lifting their gaze. When you stand at the foot of a towering peak, you are standing before a record written by time itself. Each striation in the rock, each fold in the cliff, each grain of sediment tells a story of heat and pressure, collision and uplift, oceans turned to stone, continents drifting like slow thoughts. Geologists read mountains the way librarians read ancient scrolls. They find evidence of life long extinct, volcanoes that have long since cooled, and oceans that once covered these peaks millions of years ago. This is memory without words. But mountains remember more than geology. They remember seasons. A ridge knows the difference between winter wind and summer sun. A valley holds echoes of every avalanche it has ever witnessed. A meadow remembers each year of lush bloom, each year of drought. Memory is written in where plants grow, in how soil collects, in the tilt of each tree that has survived storms. Even the snow remembers, layer upon layer stacking history in fragile crystalline sheets. Stand now near a cliff face that glows faintly in moonlight. Run your fingers along its cool surface. You're touching millions of years compressed into one moment. The rock beneath your hand has outlived civilizations, ice ages, entire species. It has seen the passage of wolves, ibex, marmots, humans, all temporary visitors in comparison to its endurance. Yet it carries no pride in longevity, no arrogance, only presence. The Alps teach us that memory doesn't have to be heavy. It can be spacious, it can be silent, it can simply exist without clinging. Mountains remember by holding shape, not by holding pain, by changing slowly, not by resisting change. Their memory is the memory of patience. And in their presence, something within us softens, a small recognition that not all remembering needs words. Next, we explore a different kind of memory, the collective mind of nature that communicates without language. An ecosystem is never just a collection of organisms, it is a conversation, silent, constant, intricate. In the Alps, this conversation unfolds between stone and snow, plants and animals, wind and water, each influencing the others in subtle, invisible ways. This is nature's intelligence. Walk into a high meadow in late summer. Every flower, every insect, every blade of grass is responding to something. Temperature, moisture, sun angle, soil composition, pollinator behavior. A plant blooms earlier or later depending on snowmelt. A bee's flight path shifts depending on wind. A marmot alters its grazing depending on predator scent. These choices are not conscious, but they are not random either. They arise from systems where each part adjusts to support the whole. Scientists call this emergent intelligence, patterns formed by many small interactions creating a coherent, adaptive whole. A forest decides when to grow. A meadow chooses how to distribute resources. A river system balances its flow, not because nature thinks in the human sense, but because the relationships between organisms create harmony. Ecosystems are intelligent because they cooperate. Consider the pine forest. Roots communicate through fungal networks, sharing nutrients, warnings, and subtle signals. When one tree is stressed, others respond, adjusting their chemistry, regulating water, offering support through shared soil pathways. It's not metaphor, it's measurable. Nature is interconnected in ways far beyond human intuition. Look now at the meadow again. A butterfly lands on a flower. pollen clinging to its legs like small golden dust. That flower's genes will spread further because of that tiny moment. A hawk circles overhead, its shadow causing small animals to freeze, changing the flow of their day. A cloud drifts, altering sunlight, which shifts temperature, which influences when a bee takes flight. Interdependence is everywhere. As you stand quietly, you begin to feel this gentle web of intelligence. It hums beneath perception, yet shapes everything around you. The Alps are not a backdrop. They are a living system, thinking, responding, balancing through countless interactions. Nature's intelligence does not rush, does not force, does not dominate. It harmonizes. From this harmony, we move into poetry, the way life writes its adaptations onto the world. Adaptation is nature's most elegant poem, not written in lines or stanzas, but in bodies, behaviors, and quiet strategies of survival. In the Alps, adaptation is everywhere, woven into fur, etched into petals, coded into feathers. Each species writes its own verse. Consider the Alpine flowers, small, strong, shaped by wind and cold. They grow low to the ground to stay warm. They bloom quickly when sunlight returns. Their colors, blue, purple, white, are chosen by pollinators that navigate harsh mountain light. Each petal is a line of poetry, speaking to the insects that read it. The ibex has its own stanza, hooves built like climbing tools, body warmed by dense fur, eyes adapted for steep terrain. Every leap is punctuation. Every pause is rhythm. Marmots write verses of hibernation, slowing their heartbeat until winter passes. Their adaptation is rest, the deepest form of preparation. Even glaciers adapt, changing shape with temperature, adjusting melt and flow to sculpt valleys in slow, persistent strokes. Adaptation is not struggle. It is creativity, life reshaping itself to meet the world. Humans often view adaptation as compromise or survival, but in nature it is expression, a dance between environment and organism, a dialogue, a poem written in motion. Stand now in a windy ridge, feeling the cold push against your coat. Every creature here, from the smallest beetle to the largest eagle, has found a way to say yes to this landscape, to belong to it, to thrive within it. Adaptation is the mountain's language, and life, in all its forms, responds with poetry. From poetry, we step into a larger rhythm, the flow of seasons that guides all things. In the Alps, seasons do not simply change, they unfold, slowly, elegantly, inevitably. Each season flows into the next like water finding its way downhill, not with force, but with quiet certainty. Spring arrives first in the valleys. Snow melts into streams. First flowers push through thawed earth. Birdsong returns, clear and bright. Days lengthen, not abruptly, but gently, like light rediscovering the land. Life stretches awake. Summer ascends the slopes with warm breezes and long evenings. Meadows bloom in full color. Rivers run quick and lively. Animals feed abundantly, preparing for the months ahead. Sunlight lingers late into night, casting gold on every ridge. The mountain breathes deeply. Autumn slips in quietly. Colors shift. Greens warm into golds. Golds deepen into amber. Meadows fade into straw. Air cools noticeably. Birds gather. Leaves fall in slow spirals like soft reminders of impermanence. The Alps begin to exhale. Winter descends with calm authority. Snow covers everything, valleys, forests, cliffs. Silence expands. Rivers slow under frost. Life draws inward, resting, conserving, trusting the cycle. The flow of seasons in the Alps is more than weather. It is rhythm, a rhythm of growth and rest, warmth and cold, abundance and stillness. It teaches us that nothing stays, but nothing is lost. Each season gives way to the next without resistance. This is nature's wisdom. Change is not disruption, it is continuity. From here, we continue deeper into reflection, where nature becomes metaphor, and the Alps speak directly to human experience. In the Alps, letting go is not loss. It is a natural gesture, a quiet release that makes space for renewal. Every part of this mountain world lets go, again and again, without fear. Snow melts, ice recedes, trees shed needles and bark, plants release seeds to the wind, animals leave the warmth of the valley to return to the cold of higher slopes. Even the mountains themselves let go, of particles, of sediment, of shapes worn smooth by seasons. Letting go is woven into every ridge and meadow. Walk through a high autumn meadow. The flowers that once bloomed so fiercely now bow their heads, their petals pale, their stems brittle. Yet nothing about this fading feels tragic. The plants let go so the seeds can root. They surrender color so the soil can feed. They loosen their hold so winter can do its quiet work. The mountain knows that holding on forever is not strength. Strength is releasing at the right moment. Consider the snow. It falls heavy in winter, blanketing the land in silence. But as spring warms the slopes, the snow doesn't resist. It melts, slowly, gracefully. It becomes rivers, streams, drinking water, flower nourishment. In letting go, it transforms. Even the wind practices this. It gathers, swirls, howls across peaks, then dissolves into calm. What arrives must someday leave. What builds must someday release. Nature does not cling. Nature cycles. And the creatures of the Alps follow this lesson intuitively. Marmots let go of wakefulness to enter deep hibernation, trusting that stillness will carry them through the longest nights. Ibex let go of warm meadows and climb back into dangerous cliffs. Because the mountain's rhythm always demands movement. Birds let go of summer and migrate across continents, trusting the air to guide them. Their letting go is not fear, it is wisdom. As you stand on a quiet ridge overlooking valleys washed in twilight, you may feel a soft resonance within yourself, a recognition. Letting go is not giving up. It is nature's way of making space. A tree sheds dead branches so new ones can grow. A flower sheds petals so seeds can travel. A mountain sheds rock so new soil can form. In the Alps, letting go is grace, quiet, steady, and essential. From this grace, we move into slowness, the mountain's oldest teacher. Slowness is not absence of motion. In the Alps, slowness is precision. It is the pace at which nature unfolds when it is allowed to be itself. Watch a glacier move. You cannot see its progress in seconds or minutes, but over seasons, over years, its presence becomes undeniable. It shapes valleys, it releases rivers, it sands down stone. Slowness becomes power. Observe how a pine tree grows. Its trunk thickens imperceptibly. Its branches extend by inches. Its rings form in concentric stories visible only in retrospect. The tree is not rushing to become. It is simply becoming. A meadow regenerates slowly, root by root. Moss spreads in quiet carpets. Lichens write their slow, cursive patterns across rock. Nothing hurries. Nothing forces. Everything evolves in a tempo that calms the mind just by being witnessed. Scientists call this slow ecology. Ecosystems functioning on long time scales where stability matters more than speed. But in the Alps, slowness feels like music. A glacier groans low. A river murmurs steadily, pines whisper in their own rhythm. Mountains shift in geological time, an ancient metronome beating once every millennia. Everything belongs to the same quiet orchestra. Sit on a warm stone now in the afternoon hush. Feel how your breathing begins to match the landscape, longer, slower, more deliberate. In a world full of urgency, the Alps remind you that most things do not need to be rushed. Water finds its way without hurry. Light reaches every ridge in its own time. Even storms approach slowly before unleashing their truth. Slowness becomes clarity. When life unfolds gently, nothing breaks, nothing overwhelms. Everything finds its shape without strain. This is the Alps' greatest lesson. You do not need to move fast to move meaningfully. Next, we explore the paradox that harsh landscapes often create the gentlest beauty. At first glance, the Alps seem harsh. Stone cliffs, cold winds, snow fields stretching endlessly. But look closer. Harshness hides softness everywhere. Between boulders, tiny cushions of moss glow emerald green, soft as velvet if you touch them. Beneath snow, dormant flowers rest in perfect stillness, preserved by cold. Inside sharp winds, there are warm currents where birds glide effortlessly. Even glaciers, with their heavy mass, shine with delicate colors, blue like deep water, turquoise like frozen sky. Harshness creates beauty by contrast. Animals here embody this paradox. The ibex lives among cliffs that look deadly, yet it moves with elegance, balanced, serene, more ballet dancer than beast. The lynx hunts in silence through freezing nights. Yet its fur is thick, soft, a perfect shield of warmth. The chough flies in high winds that seem violent, yet it plays in the gusts with joyful loops. Strength makes softness possible. Softness makes strength meaningful. Scientifically, harsh environments drive evolution, pushing species to develop resilience, adaptation, and surprising gentleness. Plants create anti-freeze chemicals. Birds use warm drafts. Mammals conserve heat with subtle posture. Trees root deep to survive fierce winters. The harshness is not cruelty. It is challenge. Challenge becomes creativity. Stand now on a bare ridge. Cold wind brushes your face, sharp and clean. But then, a moment of stillness. A pocket of warm air rises from sunlit stone, softening the chill. You realize, even within the cold, there are places of comfort. Softness lives inside the harshest moments. The Alps reveal this truth gently, as though inviting you to find the same softness within your own difficult seasons. Now we descend into the final wonder chapter, a return to the stillness that has guided us all along. Every journey into the Alps eventually leads back to the same place. Stillness. Not silence, not emptiness, but a deep, steady presence, like the mountain's heartbeat felt beneath your feet. As daylight fades and the first stars appear, the landscape quiets around you. The wind slows, the rivers soften, birds tuck their wings beneath the evening calm. Even the colors dim into soft blues and grays, as though the world is exhaling. This is the Alps returning to their resting rhythm. Stillness is not the absence of life. It is life in its most natural state. Animals pause their wandering. Trees stop moving except for the faintest breath of wind. Snow glows gently under moonlight. The mountain is awake, but unhurried. Scientifically, evening stillness occurs when air cools uniformly. Winds weaken, thermals dissolve, moisture settles. But what you feel is something beyond science, a settling inside yourself. Your breathing slows, matching the mountain. Your thoughts soften, matching the dusk. Stillness becomes a homecoming. Sit now on a quiet hill overlooking the valley. You can see faint lights from villages, hear distant cowbells, smell the sweet trace of night air sliding down from snowy peaks. All of it familiar, all of it gentle. Stillness gathers around you like a warm cloak. This is the essence of the Alps' wisdom. The world does not need to be loud to be full. It does not need to be fast to be meaningful. It does not need to be bright to be beautiful. It only needs to be present, and so do we. From here, the journey begins its descent, guiding the listener toward rest, toward peace, toward sleep. Earlier in this journey, at the edge of twilight, the Alps asked a gentle question. What does a mountain remember when the world grows silent? We didn't answer it then. We simply carried it with us through forests, meadows, storms, through shadows and seasons, through the breath of glaciers and the quiet of Alpine nights. Now, as we begin our descent, we return to that question with clearer senses and a quieter mind. Sit once more on a ridge as the last of daylight fades into a soft blue wash. The wind is calm, the air cool. The valley below glows with scattered lights of evening villages. And the mountain beneath you, immense, patient, feels steady and present, as though it has been waiting for you to return. What does a mountain remember? Not moments, not stories, not the way humans do. It remembers through shape, through slope, through the slow lines carved by time. A rockfall centuries ago, a glacier's ancient path, a storm that cut into its face but softened in the seasons that followed. The mountain remembers through endurance. It also remembers through relationships, the way rivers carve it, the way forests cling to it, the way snow smooths its edges, the way animals cross its ledges year after year. This is memory woven through ecology, a cadence of life returning and departing, interacting and evolving. But perhaps the deepest memory is not in stone or weather, but in stillness. Stillness holds everything. Stillness keeps the wisdom that movement reveals. When the world grows silent, the mountain remembers that time is long, that change is natural, that rest is part of survival. And as you sit here now, a small figure against a vast horizon, you may feel a quiet truth. You have been remembering too. The rhythm of your breath, the softening of your thoughts, the gentleness that returns when you move through the world without urgency. The mountain's question was never about geology. It was about belonging. And now we continue downward toward a truth held not in memory, but in presence. Granite is one of the oldest storytellers in the Alps. Hard, enduring, patient, it holds the mountain's deepest truths. But despite its solidity, granite teaches something soft. Walk along a stone ridge at dusk. The granite beneath your feet feels cool, steady, grounding. Its surface is rough yet strangely soothing. Its colors, gray, rose, green, shift subtly as evening light brushes across it. Granite does not demand attention. It simply exists, a quiet presence in a world that often rushes past endurance. Scientists tell us granite forms over millions of years under immense pressure, deep beneath the earth. Later, it rises, pushes upward, becomes exposed through erosion. But standing on it here, the science transforms into metaphor. Granite becomes a symbol of patience, of things that take a long time, yet emerge strong and beautiful, not through speed, through persistence and quiet formation. Lean your hand against a granite wall. Feel its coolness, its solidity, its lack of urgency. The stone does not hurry to change. It does not panic when storms pass. It does not cling to the past, nor does it fear the future. It simply endures with gentle truth. And what is that truth? That strength can be quiet, that endurance need not be loud, that stability comes from allowing rather than resisting. Granite withstands storms not by fighting wind and rain, but by absorbing, releasing, and remaining present. It adapts slowly. It warms in sunlight. It cools at night. It lets seasons shape it without losing itself. Imagine living that way, softly strong, strongly soft. As you continue along the ridge, the granite glows faintly under the first touch of moonlight. Its colors fade, but its presence deepens. This is the gentle truth of the Alps, that what endures does so quietly. From here, we move into night, into the moment the mountains grow truly still. Night in the Alps is a second world. A quieter one, slower, more reflective. The peaks that towered above you by day now feel closer, as if softened by darkness. The winds calm, the air cools, and the mountains, so immense in sunlight, settle into a quiet that feels almost like sleep. Look up. The sky is clear, scattered with stars so bright and sharp they seem carved into the firmament. Moonlight brushes the peaks with a pale silver sheen, not illuminating, but calming. The highest cliffs, once harsh and jagged, now seem gentle, edges softened by the dimness of night. Listen carefully. You hear a distant trickle of water, barely audible, a soft rustle of wind moving through pine needles, the quiet crack of cooling rock adjusting to the temperature shift. Each sound is small, each sound is deliberate. Night amplifies subtlety. Animals slow too. Owls drift silently between tree lines. A fox pauses mid-step, listening for movement beneath snow. Ibex settle on sheltered ledges, their breath visible in faint clouds. Even predators show restraint, moving with caution, patience, respect for the mountain's calm. Night encourages gentleness. Scientifically, temperature drops at night stabilize the air, reducing turbulence and echo. Everything becomes muted. Footsteps, wing beats, even your own thoughts. This is the hour when the Alps teach quiet. Not silence, but quiet. A peaceful presence that invites the mind to soften. Sit here now at the foot of a moonlit slope. The air is cool on your cheeks. The world feels vast, yet safe. The mountains are not distant giants. They are companions, resting with you, settling with you, breathing with you. When the peaks grow quiet, so do you. And from this quiet, we begin our descent, the gentle path leading toward rest. Every journey through the Alps, no matter how high or far, eventually leads downward, back into the valley, back to the soft folds of land, back to warmth and stillness. But the descent is not an ending. It is a return. A slow, gentle transition from vastness back into closeness. Begin walking down the slope. Feel the terrain soften beneath your steps, stone giving way to soil, soil giving way to grass. The air warms slightly. The wind becomes breath, lighter and quieter. Each step downward loosens something inside you, a tension, a thought, a leftover fragment of the day. You don't need to release anything consciously. The mountain releases it for you. As you descend, the sounds of night shift. Wind becomes softer. Water becomes louder. Trees reappear, whispering in the breeze like old friends welcoming you back. The valley draws nearer, a cradle of warmth beneath the cold heights. There is no urgency in this descent. only rhythm. A rhythm as steady as your breath, as calm as the night air, as gentle as the moonlight falling across your path. This is nature's lullaby, not sung, but felt. Scientifically, descending brings you into thicker air, warmer currents, more oxygen. Biologically, your heart slows, your muscles relax, your senses settle. Emotionally, the shift feels like slipping into a warm pool of calm. Descending is the body's way of preparing for rest. Soon, the first lights of the valley glimmer faintly, small golden dots against the dark. These lights feel familiar, safe, quietly alive. They signal the nearing of the day's end, the nearing of home, the nearing of sleep. Walk a little farther, feel the grass underfoot, feel the cool air settling, feel the world becoming softer with every step. You are almost there, the valley waiting like an open hand. From this point, the journey dissolves into true rest. Even in the Alps, where daylight stretches long in summer and lingers pale in winter, there comes a moment when the very last light fades from the surface of snow. It happens softly, without spectacle, a slow dimming, a gentle cooling, as though the mountain is closing its eyes. Stand on a quiet slope now. The snow before you glows faintly, reflecting the last hints of dusk, a soft lavender tint blending into pale blue. Then slowly, minute by minute, the color drains, leaving the snow quietly luminous, almost silver. Snow remembers the day in its final glimmer. It holds the last traces of sunlight the way a calm mind holds the last thought before sleep. As darkness settles deeper, shadows merge into one another. Edges soften, contours blur. The whole landscape becomes a gentle silhouette. Even the cold changes character, less sharp, more embracing, a crispness that belongs to night alone. The world feels quieter, as if waiting respectfully for the mountain to finish its slow descent into rest. Scientifically, this twilight glow comes from light scattering through ice crystals, a phenomenon called Alpenglows echo. But here, it feels more like a farewell from the sun, a whispered goodnight to valleys, ridges, forests, and to you. Listen closely. The snow holds sound differently now, muffling, calming, absorbing footsteps into soft, muted impressions. You walk downhill slowly. Each step leaves a gentle curve. Each step fades quickly, as new flakes drift from the sky in light, delicate flurries. The mountain is tucking itself in. As the last light fully disappears, the snow takes on a serene tranquility, as though the world beneath it has settled completely into quiet. The Alps exhale. The night deepens. Your breath follows. And now, we move into the rhythm of wind, soft currents guiding the listener toward deeper rest. Wind in the Alps is not a constant force. It is a breath. Inhale, exhale, long, gentle pauses in between. Each movement of wind reveals something about the mountain's mood. At night, the wind slows. It drifts lazily along ridges, brushes through pine needles, slides down snowy slopes with cool fingers. This is not the fierce wind of midday or the sharp gusts before a storm. This is the mountain's quiet breathing. Stand in a sheltered hollow now. Feel the breeze pass you, soft, steady, almost weightless. It carries with it the subtle scent of cold stone, a hint of pine resin, and the faint sweetness of distant meadows sleeping under snow. Each breath of wind comes like a lullaby. It doesn't rush, it doesn't insist. It simply moves gently through the darkness. Scientifically, These nighttime breezes form as cold air sinks into valleys and warmer air rises, a natural circulation that keeps the Alps in balance. But what you feel is something quieter, a release, a soft unwinding, a calm rhythm that mirrors your own breath. As you walk farther down the slope, you notice the patterns of wind, how it curls around boulders, whispers through branches, and settles in pockets of stillness where the air barely moves. The wind does not need to be powerful to shape the world. Sometimes it shapes simply by being present. Close your eyes, feel the breeze brush your cheeks, feel the night's coolness wrap softly around you. Feel your breathing fall into sync with the mountain. Inhale with the wind, exhale with the dark. Let your thoughts drift like loose snowflakes moving gently on air currents. You are becoming part of the mountain's breathing, calm, steady, ready for rest. Next, we move to the animals settling into night alongside you. Night has a way of gathering the wild things into stillness, not silence, for the forests remain alive, but a softer, deeper mode of living. The animals of the Alps prepare for rest with rituals as gentle as the falling snow. A fox curls itself into a neat circle beneath an overhanging rock. Its tail wraps around its nose, capturing warmth, its ears flicking at the faintest forest sounds. Its breathing slows, its body relaxes. It becomes a quiet ember of life glowing in the shadows. High on a cliff, a family of ibex settles down. They fold their legs beneath them, a posture practiced through generations. Their breath emerges in soft puffs, visible against the cold night air. They do not fear the darkness. They trust the mountain. They trust the ledge. They trust the stillness. In the meadows below, marmots rest deep underground, wrapped in warm clusters inside their winter dens. Their hearts beat slowly. Their bodies conserve energy. Their sleep is deep and unbroken, a long, quiet dream that carries them through the season. Even the birds prepare for night. A chough tucks its head beneath its wing, balanced perfectly on a branch that sways in the faint breeze. Owls glide silently, finding their roosts, ruffling their feathers before settling into statuesque calm. Every creature has a nighttime ritual, a way of surrendering the day into the gentleness of darkness. Scientifically, night reduces metabolism, triggers melatonin, and lowers energy demands. But here in the quiet valleys and moonlit cliffs, it feels like something softer, nature trusting itself enough to rest. As you walk through the valley, you notice paw prints fading, calls diminishing, movements slowing. The Alps cradle their living things in a tender hush. And now, as everything settles, we listen for the rhythm that underlies it all. Silence in the Alps is never empty. It has depth, texture, pattern, a rhythm that pulses beneath the quiet like a heartbeat. It is subtle, but once felt, it becomes unmistakable. Sit now beside a sleeping meadow. The air is cool, the stars bright. Faint moonlight glosses the snow with soft silver. At first you hear nothing, but listen longer. A river murmurs somewhere in the distance, a gentle, continuous thread woven through the night. The wind breathes in delicate currents, barely stirring the grass. A faraway owl calls, the sound fading quickly into the vastness. This is the rhythm, not loud, not obvious, but steady. Scientifically, these small sounds are indicators of a balanced ecosystem, nocturnal cycles functioning normally, predator-prey relationships in harmony, wind and water moving as they have for thousands of years. but emotionally, this rhythm is soothing. It aligns the body with something larger, the slow pulse of nature. Lean back against a stone. Feel the coolness beneath your shoulders. Close your eyes and let the faint sounds become a lull. The rhythm holds you. It loosens tight thoughts. It steadies the breath. It is the feeling of belonging without effort. The Alps teach something simple here. You do not need to fill silence. You can rest inside it. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of peace. And from this peace, the journey comes to its close, with one final chapter designed to guide you into sleep. You have wandered through the Alps, through light and snow, stone and shadow, wind and stillness. You have walked among creatures who trust the mountain with their entire lives. You have breathed thin air, stood beside glaciers, followed rivers, watched storms, and listened to night. All of it has brought you here, to the quiet edge between wakefulness and rest. Lie down now in your mind's landscape, beneath a sky full of stars that shimmer like frost. Feel the softness of the night air. Feel the ground beneath you steady and welcoming. The world is no longer wide. It is close, comforting, safe. The mountain breathes, the animals sleep. The snow glows faintly in the moonlit stillness, and you too are part of this quiet motion. Your thoughts drift, your breath deepens, your body softens into the rhythm the Alps have taught you. The wild does not demand, it simply flows. Stone endures, snow melts, wind moves, rivers carry, creatures rest, night gathers, and you move gently with all of it. Let go of the day, let go of the noise, let go of the weight you do not need to carry. Rest in the simplicity of being here, in this quiet mountain night. And as sleep draws near, as your thoughts dissolve into softness, you hear the final words of this journey, the closing lines of sleepy nature sleep. Everything flows through the wild. Sleep in that motion.